You're listening to The Ultimate Rewrite, where my mission is to empower women and men alike to start on their healing journey to become the most authentic version of themselves. If you're feeling lost or you're someone who struggles to navigate daily life, you're in the right place, baby. Hi, guys. Thank you for tuning in to The Ultimate Rewrite, Episode 1, Before versus Becoming. I'm Heidi, 34-year-old teacher who grew up in Buffalo, New York. I followed every rule I was taught about love, life, and success. And then one day, I realized that life actually didn't even belong to me. So I decided about 31 days ago that I would document my journey on all social media and start a podcast about this healing journey and growing into my healing era. In that process, I'm going to be picking up my whole life and moving to the West Coast, from East Coast to the West Coast, Southern California, in a couple months. And that, my friends, is my real ultimate rewrite. We'll get to that in another episode. Ready for this, though? So, on day 30 of posting my new content, I uploaded raw footage on Instagram of me having a panic attack. And wouldn't you know, in 48 hours, that video hit 1.8 million views. As of today is Sunday, the 15th, 2.1 million views. Mind you, this all happened literally one day before I was going to record my podcast. So, okay, universe, I love a nice flashing neon sign. Clearly, though, the world is starving to have these conversations about mental health because 2.1 million of you, that's not by chance. So I'm here to ask you a question. How do we navigate life without having a single clue of what the hell we're doing? My suggestion is to take advice from each other. I think that we learn best from one another, and that's why I'm here to teach you about all the mistakes that I've made in 34 years of life that I can't get back, and hopefully stop you from making some of these same mistakes so that you can live your most authentic life and be your most authentic self. So, today we are talking about identity. That is the core of this podcast, becoming our true selves. This has been a question that I've struggled with my therapist. To be honest, I can't remember who brought it up to me, my real therapist or ChatGPT. But regardless, the question is, what if the personality you think is you was actually programmed when you were 7? Personal experience. Here we go. In terms of what I always thought I should be and who I should grow into and who I should become. As a child, because I was raised so religiously, and truthfully, it doesn't matter what religion, but most religions are this way, where they teach that a woman's role is to be a wife and mother. Girls specifically are taught to have baby dolls and they're taught to play house and play with Barbies. So imagine as a child growing into this role of caretaker. And so that translated. Me being a caretaker as a child turned me into a caretaker as an adult. I became a teacher. I followed in the footsteps of my sister, who is also a teacher, my only sibling. I also took care of very mentally ill and abusive men, and I neglected to show up for myself for 34 years of life. I neglected to show up for the only person who's running my life, me. In today's episode, what I want to talk about is conditional love, right? This is my first milestone, my first episode for this podcast. And I think it's important to talk about that hard hitting topic, something that so much of us struggle with that I bet you some of you don't even know is existent in your life. One of the biggest lies I think that we as a society are taught as children when we're growing up about love specifically is that the better behaved child that you are, the more loved you will be. The higher the grades in school, the better behavior in public, the more participation and, success in sports and arts, the more help that you give around the house, the more expectations that are met consistently. That determines how much love you'll receive as a child. Will you be loved at full capacity? And of course, most of our parents, I hope, don't actually explicitly say this to their children. Like, you better do this or else I'm not going to love you. I really hope that your parent didn't say that. But how many of us felt that innate sense? Like, if I don't perform, if I don't do this, they'll be disappointed. That's the word. I'm just disappointed. If you're a millennial, you know that feeling, right? So it's wild because I didn't know any better, but that's what motivated me. And it stuck with me throughout life. So you're thinking, oh, as a kid, maybe that's a good thing. It gave you grit. It taught you motivation. Sure, but now I'm as an adult. So did it really help me? Did it? It's just sad because for so long in my adulthood, I wondered why am I not receiving the same love that I'm giving? That's because in my mind, love was always a transaction. And so many of us were taught that love is fragile and it can be revoked. Apparently, there's a word for this, like a term. It's called conditional positive regard. I've never heard of that until today. I guess this is where children learn to deny their own needs and emotions to fit a better, more convenient version of themselves that their parents approve of. Now, listen, this podcast is not meant it's not meant to shit on parents. It's not meant to shit on my parents, your parents, or anything like that, because I'll tell you right now, my parents did the best, and I hope I can speak for yours as well, that they did the best that they could with the tools and skills that they knew and had. The thing is, if you're a parent in today's society, this society is much different than the society of the past. We are learning and we are growing. And so, if there are parents out there that are choosing to remain stagnant, to choose in these patterns of conditional love and passing that mentality on to their children, that's where I draw the line. So, again, we're not trying to shit on our parents, right? We just want to shed some light on these answers that we didn't receive as children. At age 34, I think what I'm learning could be pertained to age 44, 54. Let's go down. 24, 14. And so I hope that in me sharing my experience and my stories with you, that you'll find some answers that you also have been searching for your whole life, and that you'll find a little bit of yourself amongst my words in this podcast, so that you can learn and grow in the same ways that I am. This is why I have this podcast. I want to interrupt these patterns and create the ultimate rewrite for our lives. So let's really get into it, shall we? What are the hard hitting questions that really made me open my mind? Okay. For me, what I worked on with my therapist was, why am I settling in romantic relationships and friendships for these people who aren't pouring into my cup the same ways that I'm pouring into theirs? Why am I giving, giving, giving? When do I get to receive? Why am I always people pleasing? Why? My loves, it's passed down to us through this conditional positive regard, right? Unfortunately, this process of conditional love has taught us self betrayal. We have ignored our true feelings just to gain approval. And you know how I know that you do this, even on a regular basis? Because you do it on social media. Whether you're scrolling or posting, you are giving or gaining approval. This is in our society 24/7. And so we betray ourselves daily. Another thing, we have this constant feeling of anxiety and this need for perfectionism. Like I said, I just posted this reel on Instagram of the panic attack. It's okay to have down moments. It's not okay to feel like you failed at your life, or to lose love for yourself over just one discrepancy that could have gone wrong in your day. And by the way, that panic attack that you might have seen on Instagram, that snuck right up on me. That was trauma that would resurfaced out of nowhere. I have worked very hard to put aside my need for perfectionism so that I can improve myself and my mental health. And I hope that y'all can do the same in watching me as I do this in real time. And then thirdly, the worst part of this conditional positive regard, like the results of this, the worst part is that we have developed this deep-seated low self-esteem and this belief that we are inherently not good enough. We were always trying to prove to ourselves as kids that we deserve to be loved by our parents. Even though they did love us, we were just seeing it as transactional. And the fact of the matter is, most parents do love their children unconditionally. They just lack that emotional tool that will help them to separate their stress and their expectations from affection. And then that results in these kids trying to earn a bond that was promised to be free. because then it translates into their adult relationships and then they're lost trying to identify who the hell they are at 34. But I digress. So, to make this realer for you, I really want to show you what this looks like in my day to day life. One that might be most relatable to y'all is my romantic relationships. So, with men in the past, and I actually can remember a crush that I had in high school, and he said, "You're so into boys. You need to calm down and be more into God." And I'm like, God, oh, more into God. I was like in my rebel phase. I didn't want to be more into God. I wanted to be more into guys. But clearly I had a problem. And let's recap, shall we? In all of my relationships with men in the past, okay? Including my first relationship in high school. And that one, I gave up my emotional and physical self way too soon just to keep him. Uh-huh. Yeah. Love that. Love the seeking for approval. In my physically abusive relationship in college, that one was great. Gave up my self worth to take care of a very, very lost, abusive as fuck train wreck of a guy in college. My emotionally neglectful marriage to my husband. Yep, gave up my identity, my whole identity, and a lot of my dignity, not all of it, but most of it, in hopes of saving my ex husband from his own demons. He had a lot of issues, as we all do, but I thought I could save him. Everything's great. I don't care if I sacrifice my whole self. Okay. And then, of course, in my rebound relationship after the divorce, I gave up whatever ounce of remaining respect and self dignity that I had in hopes of convincing him, which, by the way, there was no convincing, that I am the perfect future wife and mother. Why? Why did I do all this? You also might be asking, but what prompted you and your change? Is it because 2026, new year, new me? No, nah. It was actually, ironically enough, January. Okay, I know that January is technically the month of new beginnings, but I had this sort of catalyst or spark. And I don't even want to say this person reignited my soul because unfortunately, I don't think my soul was even on fire yet. So we're going to say this person ignited my entire being, truly. I was just shown how special I truly am, trauma and all. And yeah, to be honest, it's kind of sad that I couldn't pull myself out of this slump. I wish I could have. It's sad that it took a whole other person to convince me that, yeah, I am a fucking rock star. I am a peach. I am the diamond in the rough. I wish I could have experienced that all on my own. But it's probably because my whole life I chose all these other people who showed me the opposite. And when I found a person who valued me through and through, and knowing me in just a short amount of time, it opened my world. And now listen, if I can be that person for you, if I can be that catalyst, that spark to drive you to want to find out the whys, why am I the way that I am? Am I that damaged? Is there coming back? Can I do this? Can I grow? Can I heal? Can I enter the same soft healing era that Heidi's in? Yeah, you can. It only takes one person to make that decision. You, baby. It's you. I want to be able to help other people because I'm an empath. This is my life's purpose. I've been a teacher for 13 years. I'm 34. I started when I was 21, and making an impact on people is my passion. I wish so badly to help adults, young adults, teens to stop these patterns dead in their tracks so that they can learn from the mistakes that I made and not take this long to figure it out. Baby girl, baby boy, let me help you. Let me be your guru. In any case, if you haven't followed me yet on Instagram and TikTok, it's Witty's World. I will link that for you, no stress. So, the question of all questions, how do we move past this notion of conditional love? Let me count the ways. So, number one, shifting your focus to be more inward so that you're cultivating self worth. Number two, setting firm boundaries. Listen, this was the hardest for me. I will have so many episodes about this topic of boundaries because it is so difficult to keep boundaries in place. And I feel like this is something so many people struggle with around the world. Number three, accepting love that doesn't require you to sacrifice your entire well being. This is something I still struggle with. You still are probably like, Heidi, haven't you learned? Put yourself first. Yeah, but I'm a feeler, a healer. I can't help myself. My best friends keep telling me, they're like, Heidi, you have to put yourself first. Who cares if there are some haters in your life? What's tough for me is that with this new trajectory that my life is taking in terms of changing courses, not everybody from my current life in Buffalo is very happy with what I'm doing. Even some close friends, they just can't understand why I would want to start over, why I want to leave, why I want to broadcast my life, my struggles, my ups, my downs. And that's okay. That is quite all right. It's possible that those friends maybe don't want to work on themselves the same way that I'm doing for me, right? I just have to remind myself that it's a them thing, not a me thing. If you have ever heard of Mel Robbins, she has an incredible theory called let them. Let them do what they want. If they don't want to support you, on to the next. Now, back in the day, that shit would have upset me to the nth degree. Not being liked by somebody, let alone liked by someone who you love. Yeah, that that would have broken me. But I have learned that I don't need the approval of anyone. I'm a 34-year-old independent woman. I don't need anyone to approve of my decisions. I can do what I want. I can talk to who I want. I can involve who I want or not. The ball is always in my court and it's always in your court. Your life, your ball, your court. Some tips. I want to encourage everybody who's listening in terms of unlearning conditional love. I have 5 tips. Number 1. This is something I read on Thrive Global. They said, try to make a shift from feeling to action. So, that feeling of unconditional love, try to direct it towards yourself. Make that an action towards yourself. So, self love, self care. Start taking care of yourself. Seriously, when you look good and feel good, you exude a sort of happiness and it's like you live in positivity. So, take care of yourself, please. This is number 1. And then also, just in general, like with your mindset, try your damnedest to give yourself grace. For anybody who has done you wrong, you need to forgive them as well. Resentment and anger hold no place in your life. And that brings me to number 2. You need to let go of the anger. Okay. I was angry for a very long time. My childhood best friend, I lived with her about 10 years ago. It didn't work out very well because I chose a man over her. Love you. Sorry. But my childhood best friend said, Heidi, I watched you over 10 years get angrier and angrier in your day to day life. And she wasn't wrong. My patience and my fuses were always so short. My mind was always focused on the negative. I would cry daily. My road rage was out of whack. I mean, truly, my life was miserable. And I still do struggle with resentment and anger when it comes to my immediate family. It's something that I'm working on. Like I said, this is a process, it's live, it's as we go. Okay. But that is key to try to let go of that anger and resentment. If you can't do that, you're not going to move forward. Number 3, end the neediness. This was something suggested by Dr. David Tian. He said to transform your neediness by building inner security. I'm going to have a whole episode that focuses solely on this. I truly would like to build myself up a little bit more in terms of my inner security. I'm confident, but secure. That is something like safety. I want to delve into that more before I give you any more advice because I need to learn a little bit more. Number 4, I got a lot of experience with this one. Focus on reality. Reality, not the potential. Don't look at anyone romantically in a friendship, your family, and say, they'll get there. Because what if they don't? What if you're stuck waiting for like 8 or 9 years? What if you're stuck waiting 34 years? You need to stop falling for potential. He didn't mean it. He just needs more time. She'll stop if I just show her how consistent I can love her. It'll all be worth it if we just focused on the good times. No. You need to focus on the reality. If it's bad, it's bad. Stop trying to romanticize it. Romanticize your cup of coffee. Romanticize your dog walk. Don't romanticize a relationship because I'll tell you right now, it's not going to end well. The truth of the matter will come out in the end. And last but not least, number 5, rebuild your life, y'all. And now you're probably thinking, how do I do that? Discover yourself. Find what makes you happy. Figure out what you like. Figure out what you don't like. Now, for me personally, I have started picking up old hobbies and new hobbies. I've always wanted to dance. I used to be like in ballet. That's to me, that's not, I want like hip hop. I want dancing with vigor, right? I want to dance my pants off. That sounded wrong. I just want to have fun. Okay. So, guess what I did? I started up on some hip hop classes. Now, I'm trying to make more time for them because I am overwhelmed with what I'm doing right now in my personal life. But I have now incorporated a little bit of dancing into my workout routine because I have fucking fun when I do it. Okay. And it makes me happy. So that's a new hobby that I've picked up. A couple old hobbies. Did you know I've played the piano for my entire life? I lost a lot of my talent because I didn't hone in on it. I chose to put all of my time and energy into men. Actually, side story here. I reunited with an old friend from college, and he was asking me, Heidi, what are some of your hobbies? And I'm like, hmm, I don't know, man. He's like, come on, you got to have some hobbies. What are some of your hobbies? I genuinely could not think of a hobby for this guy. So finally, guess what I said? Men. My old hobby was men and putting and pouring all of myself into a man. Never again. So now I can tell him, well, I started dancing again. I started playing the piano again. I also, obviously, I'm an English teacher. She's got to love to read and write. Of course she does. Does she, though? Does she actually do the actions of reading and writing? No. I teach. I teach the reading and the writing. I don't do it. So I started journaling more, writing more, reading more. All of these things have taught me how to create a fulfilling life outside of living for somebody else because you know who I'm living for? That's right. That's right. Me. I'm living for me. And I have not ever felt this happy in 34 years. And actually, tune into my Instagram. I am going to be creating a reel sometime in this week about my hobbies. Now, in order for me to do all of these things that I have listed here, these 5 things, you know what I had to do? I had to make the decision to make moves. I had to get myself out of this slump. Yeah, I had a catalyst, but I had to do the work. So let me be your catalyst for you to get the fuck going. You got this. If I can do it, you sure as shit can. Okay, y'all. So I could yap at you for hours. Oh my God. I have so much to say. I have so much that I've learned. I'm like literally bursting at the seams to tell you all of my tips and tricks in life. But I just wanted to thank you all sincerely for joining me on this healing journey. I would not be here without you guys. I feel like a lot of you are here because of the panic attack reel that I posted on Instagram, which again just so happened to be a fluke right before my first podcast recording. My loves, you are seen and you are heard. This is a safe space for you, and I want you to feel safe listening to me telling my stories and even you sharing your experiences, whether that be privately through DM on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, whether that be in a public comment on any of these social platforms, or whether that be a call in once I start incorporating call ins to these podcasts. I am so grateful that you're here for this journey, and I want you to know that I'm here to support you. I think it's really important to build a community that's comfortable talking about how we can recover from damage that was accidentally caused to us in the past. Trauma is not done on purpose most of the time. So let's band together and talk so that we can heal out loud. Just really quickly before I sign off, I want to let you guys know that I am holding an Instagram live on Thursday, March 19th. That is the day of the release of this podcast, but I will be holding that live on Instagram at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time so that we can discuss the podcast, the panic attack reel, what the fuck's going on in your lives. I want to be there for you and I want to create this community. So I do hope to see you all there on that live because, guys, without you, my purpose gets a little muddy. So thank you all so much for tuning into my first episode of my podcast called The Ultimate Rewrite. This is H Dubs with You Are signing off. Just remember, you are incredible and you are worthy of all the changes that you're going to make and all the happiness that you're going to receive. Tune in next week as I delve into how to bounce back from the traumas that send our mental health into a downward spiral. Can't wait to see you all on my socials. Mwah.